What's up, guys? It's the Badwolf, and we are going to be talking about how to get your firearm rights back for those people who might need such a thing. So, one of the things you have to understand is that when you lose those rights, you now have a disability. Okay. As a matter of fact, as a U.S. citizen, uh, you are looked at as being disabled. Okay. Which is why they administer over the public, because the public are considered to be dumb. Private, considered to be smart, sovereign, of the age of majority, able to handle all of your affairs, and you know what's all going on. So in reality, we're actually somewhere in between both. All right. But if you show any signs of a disability, well, and you claim to be a U.S. citizen, well, guess what? They've got all the things you need on the island of misfit toys. All right. So when trying to get your rights back, first of all, you have to ensure that you did, in fact, lose them on the federal level. See, the federal level is the main level that actually means something now, but on a daily basis, we deal with the state. So there have been people who have lost them on the state and state level, but keep in mind that the state, though they have the ability to operate as a type of government, even though they're a business, the state of enter your state here is nothing more than a type of business slash corporation. And they got their permission from the federal government, which then means the federal government is the superior lawful law of the land, while the states operate in legal, corporate statutes, codes, regulations. The supreme power, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, and the Constitution by the Supreme Court and protected and enforced by the federal courts. So, first of all, you want to make sure that your rights or see where your rights are. You know they're probably gone on the state level, but double check with the government, your ATF, and make sure that with them that they've been lost. Okay. Now, we're not going to get into the subtleties of the straw man and all that good jazz, but let's just say this. The government does not recognize your straw man per se, because when they communicate with you, that all capitalized name per the GPL style manual is just that. It's actually you. They're not a party to conspicuous format in UCC 1-201 definition section. They're not party to Black laws, capitis demutio maxima, Latin for full loss of rights in family name. Okay. They're not operating by that, but the states are. So when you use the exact same name on the state level, which is looked at as legal as a resident or a member, public, U.S. citizen, dumb, and you communicate with the same name and whatever else, federal government's going to look at it and say, well, sometimes they'll say, well, we don't see any disabilities here. None of this has been filed with us. You didn't lose it with us. Okay. So, but let's take a look and see what we can find on getting those rights reinstated. You're removing your civil disabilities. As always, guys, you can find me on blacksite32.com and jamesclovett.com and badwolf.unincorporated.com. All right, so let's take a look here. We're going to be going over to WikiHow, so credit goes over to them, and Clinton gets credit for this, who's a PhD. All right, and this is what they had to say about getting them reinstated. And I'm going to have the lovely AI read. That way it's not arduous for you guys to listen to me read this. So let's get going. As always, guys, take care, be healthy, be of good mind, be of good character, do your best. Okay, so the federal law prohibits felons from possessing or distributing firearms. I will give you guys some gem drops here. There is a difference between an arm and a firearm. That's all I'm going to say.
Felons from possessing or distributing firearms. States also have similar prohibitions. In order to get your firearm rights back, you will need permission of both the federal government and your state. To begin the process, you need to research your state law and then apply for a pardon, expungement, or restoration of your civil rights.
So they're
Getting
telling
back
you,
your gun.
they're telling you right there, there's three things: pardon, an expungement, and a restoration of your civil rights. Well, I thought they said they couldn't take away your civil rights. Oh, yes, if they can, if you've done a crime. And that should only be and have been done by the federal government because they're lawful. But let's keep going.
Gun rights can be very difficult. For this reason, you should employ the assistance of a lawyer.
But you don't need one.
Part 1. Researching the requirements download article. Currently, the Federal Gun Control Act prohibits anyone from selling or disposing of a gun to anyone convicted of a felony.
All right, now here we're using the word gun. Now, this might seem like semantics to the low-level functionaries or the peons, but here's the thing. Whoever names the device, the person, the entity, the whatever, is the owner of it. Only you can declare what it is. If they don't own it, they can't define it. If you look at a car, a police officer is going to call it a motor vehicle because in his code, motor vehicles is the label for somebody who owns the car, registers the car, and is doing commercial activity. If I own it and it's private and I remove it from their system as being owned by my registered name, it goes back to being private. And then it's an automobile or a private conveyance for pleasure, not for profit, not for commercial, not for public use, not for hire.
Felony. By law, in order to get your gun rights restored, you would need to submit an application to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, BATF. However, the BATF is not currently processing applications. Nevertheless, you can still qualify under the Gun Control Act to get your firearm rights back if you get one of the following forms of post-conviction relief. Frowny face.
Okay, so keep in mind that you can also do this with your local court. Your courts can do this. You can apply through your courts because most of you guys have not been relieved of your rights on the federal level. It's usually the state level. So apply for these things through your court. Contact your court. You want to vote again? You want to get a firearm again? You're going to contact the courts. Ask them what paperwork is needed to get your civil rights restored, or to get a pardon, or to get a conviction expunged, or to get your voting rights reinstated. Contact the court clerk and ask her what's the proper form. Can she email it? Can she mail it? Can I get it online? Once I do that, is there a fee? Where do I send it?
Frowny face 1.
Come on. I don't know why. Something's eating up all my resources today. Hold on. Okay, let's try it now. Come on. All right, so we'll go on. I guess I'll have to do it the old-fashioned way. So you have to have your conviction expunged, you have your civil rights restored, and your or get a pardon. Furthermore, the expungement, restoration of civil rights or pardon must also allow you to get your gun rights back. This will depend on your state. So each state's going to be a little bit different in how they move and what their expectations are. All right. All right, hold on one second. Okay, looks like basically I got too many things open. Sorry about the delay, good people. Give me one more second here. Okay. So if you aren't convicted of a state crime, notice they said state here, but it also has the word crime, then you can seek a pardon, expungement, or restoration of your civil rights from your governor. You must find out whether or not you can get this post-conviction relief along with the rights to possess a firearm. For example, your state may be willing to pardon you, but not let you have a gun. In this situation, you will not be able to get your federal gun rights back, even though you have a pardon. According to the Gun Control Act, you can qualify for a restoration of your gun rights only if a pardon, expungement, or restoration of civil rights does not expressly bar the right to ship, transport, possess, or receive firearms. If your state makes post-conviction relief contingent on not possessing a gun, then you cannot get your gun rights back. If you were convicted of a federal crime, see, once again, now on the federal level, then there are a few opportunities for expungement. Instead, you must seek, okay, there are a few opportunities. You must seek a pardon from the President of the United States. Okay, so they're telling you there's different levels here that you can be convicted on. Most people, it's just on the state side. The state won't let you play ball, but the federal, they don't know, usually they don't know anything about it. So let's see if we can continue from here.
States have strict requirements that must be met in order to qualify for a pardon, expungement, or restoration of civil rights. You need to check whether you can apply for any of those forms of post-conviction relief. To find your state law, you can visit your local law library or search the internet. As an example of restrictions, some states will not expunge a DUI. Accordingly, if you were convicted of a DUI, then the only way you can get your gun rights back is to seek either a pardon or a restoration of your civil rights. You should get the court papers for all of your convictions so that you can see exactly what crimes you were convicted of. You cannot have any disqualifying conviction. Ask your attorney for copies of your court papers, or stop into the courthouse where you were convicted and get copies. Because this area of law is complicated, you should meet with a lawyer. Only a qualified post-conviction attorney can properly advise you on the best approach for getting your gun rights back. When you meet with a lawyer, explain your situation. He or she will let you know if, under state and federal law, you can get your gun rights restored. Ask the attorney which form of post-conviction relief you can apply for. To find a qualified attorney, you can visit your state's Bar Association website, which should host a referral program. You can also ask the defense attorney who represented you in your criminal case for a recommendation. Lawyers know the reputations of other attorneys and can recommend a qualified lawyer. Part 2. Applying for post-conviction relief. Download article. Before applying for the restoration of your gun rights, you need to receive post-conviction relief. An expungement is a form of relief that will seal your arrest and conviction records, thereby making them disappear. 4. States have different requirements and processes, but generally the following applies. You must qualify for an expungement. Generally, states are more willing to expunge misdemeanor convictions rather than felony convictions. However, many states will expunge some felonies. 5. You will need to find your state's expungement law on the internet and see if you qualify. You must wait a sufficient amount of time. Depending on the offense, you cannot apply for the expungement until a certain amount of time has passed. 6. Generally, the more serious the offense, the more time you must wait. Get an application. You will need to fill out an application or a petition in order to apply for an expungement. In it, you will need to list the dates of your convictions. You also will need to provide certified copies of your court papers. You may or may not have to attend a hearing to answer questions. For more information, get an application. You will need to fill out. Instead of an expungement, you could apply for restoration of your civil rights. Your civil rights include your right to vote, to serve on a jury, and to run for public office. As with an expungement, states have different requirements. You petition your state's clemency board by filling out an application. Find your state's requirements by searching on the internet or by meeting with a lawyer. In many states, your civil rights will be automatically restored after the completion of your sentence if you are a first-time offender. In other states, only some rights, such as the right to vote, will be automatically restored. You must apply for restoration of the others. You can apply by filling out your state's application, listing your felony convictions and the dates of your sentence. You will need certified court papers from the courthouse where you were convicted. For more information, see Restore Civil Rights. Alternately, you may need to get a pardon. If you were convicted of breaking a state law, then you must apply to the governor of your state for a pardon. You would apply to the president for a pardon from a federal conviction. 7. The pardon process requires that you fill out an application, get letters of reference, and potentially speak at a pardon hearing. You can find the requirements for your state or the federal government by searching online or by visiting your local law library, which should be held at your county's courthouse. The requirements for a pardon can be strict. You must wait a certain amount of time after the completion of your sentence and convince a pardon board that you deserve the pardon. 8. However, if you do not qualify for an expungement or restoration of your civil rights, then a pardon may be your only option. You will also need letters of recommendations from people who can attest to your good character. You can get them from employers, faith leaders, or leaders of volunteer organizations. Pardons are discretionary. The governor, or president, does not have to give you a pardon even if you meet the eligibility criteria. Instead, they will generally look to see that you have rehabilitated yourself through employment and community service. 9. For more information on how to apply for a pardon, see Apply for a Pardon. Part 3. Petitioning for the Restoration of Gun Rights. Download article. Once you have received your expungement, restoration of civil rights, or pardon, you then need to apply to have your gun rights restored. Your state should have an application. Many states have uploaded their applications onto the web. You can then download the form and fill it out, or complete the form online and then print it off. In some states, you may have to petition a court. Virginia, for example, requires those who have had their civil rights restored to petition the circuit court in the city or county where they live to have their gun rights restored. To petition the court, stop in and ask the court clerk if there is a form for you to use. Alternately, your attorney could draft this petition for you. Depending on your state, you will need various forms of supporting documentation. For example, you will probably need copies of your arrest/offense reports, which you can get from the law enforcement agency that arrested you. You will probably also need certified court documents, such as the complaint/indictment, judgment, and sentence order. You can get these from the clerk at the courthouse where you were convicted. Proof that you have paid any fine or restitution ordered by the court. The court clerk should be able to provide the statement to this effect. You also might need an official criminal history statement from the sheriff of the county in which you reside. You should either type the information into your application or print neatly in black ink. Answer all questions, writing not applicable for anything that is not applicable. Each state's application is different, but you will generally be asked for the following information: current name and any name you were convicted under, any aliases, your race and sex, date and place of birth, driver's license number, current and previous addresses, whether you have children and if you pay child support, your employment history, your criminal history, including your prison ID number, the reasons why you want the restoration of your firearm rights, what rehabilitation efforts you have undertaken. Send the completed application to the address provided. Mail the application certified mail, return receipt requested. The receipt will serve as proof that the application was received by the appropriate office. Be sure to make a copy for your records. If the application is lost, then you can refer to your copy. There may be a fee to apply. If there is, then you will be told the amount. Categories: finance and business, legal matters, send the completed application to the address provided. Mail the application certified mail, return receipt requested. The receipt will serve as proof that the application was received by the appropriate office. Be sure to make a copy for your records. If the application is lost, then you can refer to your copy. There may be a fee to apply. If there is, then you will be told the amount on the form. If you have to file a petition in state court, then the clerk will tell you the amount of the fee. In North Carolina, by way of example, you will have to pay $200 to file the petition. 10. The state may want to interview you before restoring your gun rights. Alternately, if your state requires that you file a petition in court, then you will probably have to attend a hearing before a judge. At the hearing, the judge will make sure that you meet the state criteria for getting your gun rights back. Notice will probably also be sent to the district attorney's office. If the district attorney disagrees with your application to get firearm rights restored, then he or she can come to the hearing and present evidence explaining that position. 11. If the state board grants you your gun rights, then they will probably send you a certificate to that effect. Where a judge orders the rights restored, you can get a certified order. 12. The state, or court clerk, should forward notice to the sheriff's department that your gun rights have been restored. Furthermore, they should send notice to the National Instant Criminal Background Check System Index. 13. Check with the court clerk or state board to confirm how this information is relayed. When notice is received by the National Background Check System, then you will no longer show up in the system as a felon prohibited from purchasing a gun. Accordingly, you will then be able to purchase a gun from a licensed seller.
There it is. Obviously, when you do this, don't act a fool. Don't even go places where you need to have it in the first place. Don't hang out with people who are going to influence you to use it or carelessly handle theirs or going to want to see yours. At this point in time, you should be grown, and even some of this should be in your arguments as to why you want one now, how foolish you were then, how you can see that now, and how you won't put yourself in those scenario situations with those people, places, or things again. That being said, you guys have a great day. Go get your rights back, and I'll talk to you later.